Welcome aboard for Joe's Atmosfere's State of the Atmosfere, show where I get together with some friends in the chat and talk about whatever we would like. The stuff that we're going to look at tonight, we've got Tulsi Gabbard leaving the Democrat Party. Got some interesting stuff to talk about there. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a fan of Wonder Woman. I think she's great. But what are her motivations to do this? Why is she doing it now? We'll talk about it tonight. Plus, we're going to take a look at the special presentation by Marvel Studios of Werewolf by Night. Royal Fox and I checked it out last night, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. And an interesting article I saw today, a rural county in Texas is petitioning to get secession from the Union on the ballot in Texas. We'll talk about it all tonight on State of the Atmosfere. All right, boys and girls, good evening. We are here for State of the Atmosfere, the show where I get together with the chat and with whoever decides to show up as far as my streaming friends. And tonight we have Matt from Small Time Republic. What's up, buddy? How you doing this Wednesday?
Not much. Doing good. Hump day.
Yes, hump day. It's a great day. I think I've told you this before. I always do this show on Wednesday because this is the night my wife has to go to a bunch of meetings and stuff. So I got 2 hours by myself right here. So this is how I like to enjoy myself.
2 hours of unsupervised behavior.
Yeah. Unsupervised tomfoolery. No doubt about it, bro. Yes. But anyway, I'm doing real good. I actually did a video on this yesterday, our first subject, and I'm ready to chomping at the bit to get to it. One of my favorite people in this political sphere, and I'll give you my reasons why here in a little bit, but Wonder Woman, Tulsi Gabbard, announced yesterday she was leaving the Democrat Party. And I was listening to she was being interviewed on Hannity this afternoon when I was driving home from work. And apparently, this is what she said during the interview. He asked what political affiliation she's going to have directly. And she said, right now, independent. You know, she said, I've always been an independent thinker. And that's one of the reasons why I like her. You know, she doesn't go with the program. She's not one of those that is lockstep with the party kind of thing. You know, she never has been. Now, I know people have problems with her stance on Second Amendment and climate stuff. But she's changing on the Second Amendment. I don't know if you've noticed that over the last year or so. I follow her on Facebook. And I may try and find it here in a little bit, but she put out a video about, and it's funny how people are confronted with dangerous situations, how they, change their tune. Apparently there was an altercation with a gun that she was involved in or a family member. And she was working to change the concealed carry laws in Hawaii, I think, something like that. I'm not sure. But it was very interesting. She sounded very pro Second Amendment all of a sudden. You know what I mean? It was. Yeah.
So if all politics are local, that her gun issue got real local, real fast.
Got real local, apparently. Yeah. So, yeah, she's kind of changing on that one. I don't think she's ever going to change on the climate deal, because I don't know if you've ever spent any time in Hawaii, but they're big about the environment anyway. They just really are. I mean,
I've always wanted to go there. Had a chance to.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great place to visit. I spent 3 months there in the Army, and this was back in what, 86, I think. Yeah, winter of 86, January, February, maybe a little bit of March. And beautiful place. I am a beach bum at heart now from my experience there. Waikiki is one of the, I've never seen a beach as pretty as Waikiki.
Nice.
And that I would say it's a great place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there. 2 reasons. One, the price of living is through the roof in that place.
That's
Always
what I've heard.
has been. And the other thing is the locals don't like you. They just don't.
Right.
They call you Hallies, and that's basically like dropping an N-bomb on a African American. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a bad slur, and man, the worst ass kicking I ever took was in Hawaii from a 5'2" Hawaiian dude. Of course, I was drunk out of my mind walking home to the barracks, because I didn't have money for a cab, and I got, I was tired and blasted, and I leaned up against a car, and this guy come running out and said, "What you want to fuck with my car for, brah?" And I did the stupidest thing I could have done. I raised my hands, and he hit me 3 times in the face with his feet. And
wow.
I was just sitting there, stunned, and he kind of looked scared once I didn't hit the floor, right? And because I had a good damn near half a foot on him, and he was like, "You're drunk, aren't you, bro?" I said, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Get the fuck out of here." I went back to the barracks. I had the worst black eye I've ever had in my life. I mean, it was nasty. But yeah, that's the 2 reasons why I wouldn't want to live there. But
yeah, I've got a cousin. He's lived out there since like 89, 90, somewhere there. And he's adopted the whole the laid back mentality and everything that goes with living out there. It's definitely a different culture, but yeah, at some point I'm gonna have to go out there.
Yeah, like I said, a prettier beach you're never gonna be on. It's gorgeous, but it's expensive. You're gonna need to take some money with you. Yes.
Mm-hmm. The cost of living, I would think, whether it's Bermuda, Hawaii, any kind of island, especially the further away you get from.
Yeah, because everything has to be shipped out to you, unless you're buying pineapples. I mean, come on.
I will say this: the beaches that we have in Alabama and in the Florida Panhandle, all through there, those are some some pretty beaches as far as
they are.
The sand. It's the nice grainy light colored sand. Now, the water in Florida is prettier because you're further away from the Mississippi.
Yeah, no doubt.
The further away you get from the Mississippi, the prettier the water gets. But.
Yeah. I've spent time in Fort Walton and Biloxi. Now, Biloxi's a man-made beach, and it's the thing I hate about Biloxi is they've got a reef. Yeah. I think it's about a mile and a half out, and it breaks up the surf. There's no surf there at all, and I'm a surfer bum. I'd love to get on my boogie board and play with the waves, but you don't have any of that in Biloxi. Now, Fort Walton, that was pretty cool. They don't have a reef out there busting it up. And, I could imagine. And you're right. The water looks like it's a lot cleaner and everything.
Yeah. Well, it's just, less debris from the river. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, Tulsi has decided to leave the Democrat Party. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this article from The Guardian, and I'm also going to find the actual video. It shouldn't take me long. I follow her, so I'll just search for it real quick and get it. But Tulsi Gabbard, let's see. Hang on. Help if I shared it, wouldn't it? Or excuse me, presented it. They've changed the name of the button on there. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. Let me go ahead and add sound so I don't have to redo it. Okay. Tulsi Gabbard quits Democratic Party, attacking elitist cabal of warmongers. I loved what she said there, man. It was so awesome. Former Hawaii Congresswoman and 2020 presidential hopeful says party is dominated by those espousing cowardly wokeness. I mean, she came out with both barrels in this thing, man. She really did.
Yeah, she's not going back.
Let me see if they have a link. I don't think they have a link to it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that up, and I'm going to find it real fast. But what do you think of this? I mean, I'm surprised she hasn't done it before now. Is my thing. I really am surprised that she hasn't done it before now. You know?
Yeah. What I think there's a lot of things that could have caused her to do that. One of them would be back when she was running for president in 2020, when she met certain qualifications to be a part of the debate.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it was maybe second or third debate. It was not the first one, and she met the criteria. Well,
warmongers,
hang on,
who were driven.
Bear with me. That's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, and even though she met the criteria to be on that particular debate, they then changed the rules to where she couldn't be on it. I think they raised the percentage that you have to have in the polling to be like just above whatever she had, or there was some other, chicanery that they did to get her out, to keep her off the debate stage. And it was because they didn't want to have anybody on the stage go against the narrative.
They were fine with her destroying Kamala Harris and basically ending her presidential run, Yep. But once it started coming down to fewer and fewer people, it was, it sucked. It was, I believe it was tied to finances, if I remember correctly. You had to have raised so much money.
Yeah. Or it was either poll numbers or finances. Yeah, I think it may have been finances. Mm-hmm. But she met the initial criteria, but then they changed the criteria.
Yep. And she was the chair of the DNC at the time. And whenever she saw what they were going to do to get Hillary up there for the election, she was like, well, no, I'm getting out of here. No, she resigned from that, Yeah,
and she also must have seen what Hillary did to Bernie in 2016, where basically his was it the
that's what I'm talking about.
The super delegates were purchased from Bernie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the year she quit that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes I don't remember to point out the facts of what had happened, but she saw that coming with the super delegates. I was searching for the word in my mind. But the super delegate thing got her. She said, nah, that's not fair, and she was friends with Bernie. That they've always been pretty good friends. So, I'm not a big Bernie fan, but I'm a fan of this girl. Let's hear what she had to say. And by the way, one of now I have to be fair here, and I didn't know this until I watched. Have you ever watched Officer Tatum? He's ex-Texas law enforcement.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of him. Yeah, okay. I know he's got a big channel. Yep.
Yeah, he does. But I watched his talk about this, and he agreed with everything she said, but he was like, now, why would she be doing this? He was looking at the motivations behind it. And one of them may be that this was the first broadcast of her podcast. So she may have planned to do it just to get eyes on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But nobody I've seen that runs in our circles have argued with anything this girl had to say.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at it real quick, and we'll comment on what she's got to say.
Yeah. Sounds off.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay, hang on. Let's see. Let me redo it then. I thought I had the sound on.
Yeah, the looks like the sound's on the video itself, but just maybe not when it's shared.
Okay. Let's retry it then. I hate it when this thing doesn't work right.
Yeah. Now initially the first time you hit it was playing. Earlier.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's try it this way. I just don't want to come through my mic.
I hear you. 8.2 million views. Wow.
Yeah.
That didn't take long.
No, it didn't. Here we go. Nope. And now there's nothing. What the hell? Okay, we're gonna get this, guys. Bear with me. I'm new at this streaming stuff. We're gonna get this figured out. Let's see.
Sure reminds me a little bit of Rogue from X-Men with the silver strand of hair.
Yes, she's always worn that. I think that's a Hawaiian thing. I'm not sure. Let's see.
I'm not either.
Let's make sure that's up. Okay. Let's see if we can hear it now.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite. Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, then I invite you to join me.
Yeah, man. Dig it. I dug everything she said. I really did. And I don't think, well, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are in that elite cabal that would debate it, but there's not many average Joe on the street that would argue with anything she just said. And she's the first person I've heard call out anti-white racism ever right. on a public forum. Which, I mean, it's
especially anybody from the left. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's now if you followed this girl at all, the question I had was, what took you so long? You know what I mean? Because I'm one of these people that, I try and be a good citizen and do my due diligence, and people, that I run with are always asking me, why do you watch the Democratic, primaries? I'm like, because, man, we got to see what's going on that side just as well as ours, And what turned me on to her the first time was her foreign policy stance, which is a big thing with me. I'm ex-military, and I don't want to see us get into anything that we don't need to be involved in. And the first time I saw her, it was on one of the Fox News channels, which how many Democrats go on Fox News? She ain't scared to do that at all. True. She never has been. And she was on there once, and it was during the primary season, and they were asking, what's your foreign policy? She said, well, my foreign policy is this. If you're a terrorist, we are going to go to every lengths. We're going to bring to bear every weapon we have on you. We're going to take you out.
Right.
She said, but when it comes to these regime change wars, it was the first time I'd ever heard that term used. When she said that, I knew exactly what she was saying, because I've been bitching about it for years. And she said, when, this taking out leaders to install our own, she said, we never learned this lesson and we keep doing it. She said, that's going to stop if I get the White House.
And that's one of the easiest ways you can make enemies on both sides of the aisle.
Yes.
Because the one thing they can agree on is that they want to, spend money on war. That's one thing that Congress has always been able to come to an agreement on. I mean, look at all the Democrats that voted for the Iraq War. Yeah, there were a lot of them, a lot of prominent ones too.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've never shied away from. And in fact, they went after Trump for not wanting to do more in Syria.
Yep.
So there's no shortage when it comes to that. In terms of one of the things she said was, she mentioned the word cabal.
Yep.
I'm just waiting for the Anti-Defamation League or any other type of group that that states that they monitor any kind of anti-Jewish rhetoric to come out and condemn her and attack her and say that she's an anti-Semite. I'm just waiting for that,
right?
because it's one of the buzzwords that they like to go after.
Yes.
But I do have to step away for just 1 or 2 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Go for it, man. Go for it. But yeah, guys, not much can be argued with what she had to say. I personally have enjoyed Tulsi's straightforward approach, and I know there's, I don't think any candidate is going to be perfect ever, but you want to talk about somebody that checked all the boxes that the Democrats would seem to want to have in a candidate for president. She's female. She's she's a veteran. She's a woman of color. I mean, how many check boxes do you need? And the minute she didn't go in lockstep with them, the minute she decided, I'm going to go see what's going on in Yemen myself, soon as that happened, she was a Russian asset. That's all they could say. The script was made. There it is. We gotta stop this chick. She's not listening to us. She's not telling the same story. She's not on the same menu that we're eating off of. It's just
and one of the reasons why she's not really into trying to seek out new wars, and probably the same reason that you feel that way, is that a lot of times people that have a military background, they know that there's cost involved.
Yeah.
Whether it's monetary, whether it's people, whether it's, there's untold amounts of costs are involved when you go to war.
Yep.
And I think people that have a military background, you guys and gals, you probably, for the most part, there's some hawks out there, but for the most part, you probably have the mindset of it needs to be worth it.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I've got no problem with us getting involved in something, but it has to be a clear mission, and it has to be worth it. What are we going to be fighting for? You know what I'm saying? And that's you've got to have a clear vision for it. I mean, when I was in, the Russians were the big baddie, and it was before the wall fell, and I'll never trust them as far as I can throw them. It's just the way it is. I'm just not going to. But this whole thing in the Ukraine, though, I mean, okay, first of all, not to get off topic, but I do want to touch on it, and I do know you cover things like this. I've been talking to my brother, and my brother's all for, the Ukrainians beating back the Russians. He was in the military at the same time I was. He don't trust the Russians either. But he's gone to calling Putin Pootie Tank. That's what he's calling him now. But anyway, whenever they wanted to get fast tracked into NATO last week, when I saw that, I said, "Whoa!" Now, I really, what are they going to do to vet this? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the current president and his son have been doing backdoor deals with those people for almost a decade now, haven't they?
I don't know the background. I do know that Ukraine in general has had all kinds of corruption problems, and they're essentially a vassal of Russia, and a lot of the way they operate is like Russia. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that live there, especially your older people, that, for all we know, they consider themselves Russia and don't have a problem living under that government if that's ended up what happening.
Yeah.
So it's a complicated situation, but in my opinion, something doesn't smell right over there.
Yeah.
In terms of all the billions and billions and billions we're spending that we're not going to be ever to account for.
Yeah.
I think those are going to someone's pocket. They're not necessarily all going to weapons.
Yeah, that's what I'm
or
saying.
aid.
Look,
Yep.
Hunter Biden was working on some energy company's board for how long?
Yep. Solyndra.
Collecting money, and it just that's what I'm saying. They got to vet that before they go letting them into NATO. It's I'm not saying that they shouldn't protect their borders. They should. They're a sovereign country. They should do
Yep.
that. But as far as joining NATO, we got to get to the bottom of where all these dollars have been going, and what happened with Hunter Biden over there and all that stuff. We got to get the bottom of that. I mean, you know,
Yep.
um,
I try not to live by the whole the enemy of my enemy is my friend,
that's a
because
fact. Yeah, you can't.
sometimes the enemy of your enemy is also your enemy.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think there's some bad dudes over there in Ukraine.
Well, when it first broke out, now I don't know if you've ever listened to Jimmy Dore. He's a comedian. Have you ever seen this guy? He
Yep.
is crazy. I enjoy him quite a bit, but he's friends with some journalists that uncovered the fact that they've one of the things that Putin said, he was going in there to denazify, was one of the exact
Yep.
terms he said, and I had no idea that they had Aryan Nazis in friggin' Ukraine.
That
they
was news
actually
to me.
do.
But if you look at a lot of the photos that they've had of the little, of the, the Yahtzee symbol that is on a lot of people's, whether it's jewelry or
Right.
uniforms or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of it floating around out there with the Ukrainian fighters.
Yeah.
So it's
and it's I've that's why I say you can't just automatically let them in. We got to vet these guys and see what's up, because there's definitely some corrupt stuff going on over there. And I'm not saying that Zelensky's involved in it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that some of the powers that be over there may be involved. And Mr. Biden didn't get his son over there by accident. Somebody's complicit in getting that guy over to a country, that he. What business does Hunter Biden have being on a board of a friggin' energy corporation halfway around the world?
He's a Renaissance man. He he's on an energy board, at least one, if not more than one. He does business in China. Mm-hmm. He has great art. He explores all the different drugs that can be used.
Yes, sir.
He's a
Pope Metallics that says, "Well, hello there." He's watching on Twitch. Let's see. Good to see you, Small Time Republic. Pope, do you want in here? I thought you were on that thread for Twitter. Do you want in here, buddy, or are you busy getting ready to move? Let us know in the chat, man. Because if you want in, I'll go ahead and send you a link, bud. I'll send it to you on Gilded. I know I can reach him there. I thought he was on the Twitter thread, but yeah. So getting back to Tulsi, that when she went to Yemen to find out what was going on the ground there by her, on her own, that's when they turned their back on her and mounted a friggin' serious campaign to make her look bad. And I don't know, man. As a veteran, I'm sitting here going, how can you talk about somebody that's worn a uniform like this? She's not a Russian asset. What are you doing?
Yep.
Just wow, man.
And
and
part of it is basically, if you look at Tulsi Gabbard, you look at Bill Maher, you look at Jon Stewart,
mm-hmm.
They're essentially 90s Democrats. But by the crazy world that we live in right now, 2022, they're somehow seen as like, independent, or maybe a hair right of independent, as far as, down the middle.
Right.
But they're really not. They're really, but all three of those are really leftist. But it's just that the Overton window, which is basically, whatever the common perception is, has moved so far to the left in the past 20, 25 years that they're now seen as almost like alt-right.
Right.
Russell Brand, same way.
Oh man, you know what? I need to watch that guy more. The little bit I've watched of him, he cracks me up. But he is. I love what he's saying. I think it's awesome. I think that's why he's blown up as much as he is.
Well, one thing about him is I think he's at least coming from it from a neutral position. So, like, if there's a topic he doesn't know, I think he at least tries to come in with that without preconceived notions.
Right.
Or maybe he's doing, that more now than maybe he used to. And that's really all we can ask for, is that if there's a topic you don't know about, go in with an open mind.
That's it. That's the appeal of Joe Rogan, for instance. He freely admits, I am a caveman. I am a monkey. I don't know what I'm doing, right? He said, but I am curious and I like to ask questions. And, and he's great at it. All right, let's bring in Pope Metallicus the First. What's going on, Big Daddy?
Well, hello, gentlemen.
What's going on? Are you packing up? You getting ready?
Oh yeah, we are. I mean, they're taking another load down to Virginia right now.
Okay,
and I'm packing up some of the other stuff. Looks like the final move is going to be mid-November.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, well, I was on a stream the other night, Matt, with this bunch, and I think there were 6 of us on there, and 4 of them are moving. All of them. I mean,
yeah.
But Pope, for those of you that don't know, is a veteran of the Iraq War, I believe.
Afghan.
Excuse me, the Afghan War. Same one my daughter was in. I'm have to remember that. Make a mental note. My daughter was in Afghanistan too. And you were a Marine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. If you're wondering why you can't see him, guys, he's usually on camera, but he's moving, so his place is in a shambles right now. So.
Yeah, my desk setup is actually taken apart mostly right now. I have my desktop and one of my monitors.
Yep. So what are your thoughts on Tulsi leaving the Democratic Party, man?
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I was like, what have you been waiting on?
Right?
Yeah. I mean, she was on Rogan a couple of years ago, and at that point, I was thinking that she may leave the party.
Right. And she was on there, yesterday, I think. I still haven't finished watching it yet, but she was on there yesterday. And I just, like I said, I love her stance on foreign policy. I think that should be the foreign policy of the United States. If you're a terrorist, we take your ass out. But when it comes to these regime change wars, we don't need any of that shit.
Well, that was one of the reasons I voted for Trump was because he's not a pacifist, but he was not trying to pursue any new wars.
No. And the thing about Trump is, he. Let's see, private chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's from earlier, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, one thing about Trump, everybody wanted him in there because he's a businessman. Let's put a businessman in the White House, It's one of the things that kind of tried to catch fire with Romney, but Romney can't catch anything on fire.
Having been my former governor, that was never going to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you did okay for Massachusetts, but that's because we're a leftist state.
Yeah. And what's funny to me is the Obamacare thing was modeled after what he did in Massachutzes.
But
right?
They fucked it up.
Yeah.
Like what we did in our state actually worked. And 98% of people already had health insurance in Massachusetts before the ACA. And they managed to fuck all that up.
Yeah. Well, my point was going to be that the fact that he was a businessman, a lot of people wanted to see how a businessman would do in the executive. I want to see how a military vet will do as an executive. Okay.
Me too.
I think
it's been since
a long time. I don't think Reagan was ever in the military.
No, he wasn't.
No.
Oh, sorry. Bush 43 technically, and Bush 41 actual.
Right. But before that
was Carter.
Yeah, it's Carter.
And I love that they made an exception to making presidents' names only for aircraft carriers. They made an exception for him because he was a submariner.
Yeah.
So they named one of the Seawolves after him.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got a degree in, isn't he a nuclear physicist or some shit like that?
He was a nuclear power guy.
Yeah.
He was an engineer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But that's what I was hoping for when, and I know a lot of the guys in our sphere don't trust her as far as they can throw her with the Second Amendment, and
well, she's openly anti-gun.
Yeah. Well, right. But like I said, her stance on that's starting to change because of something that happened to her in Hawaii.
Yeah, and that makes me like her a lot more because she is willing to change her own position based on real world circumstances.
Exactly. You guys vamp for a second. I've got to go do something real fast. I'll be right back. Okay.
All right.
Yep.
And I don't know where that echo's coming from. I don't think it's on my end.
Yeah, I didn't hear the last thing you said. Did not echo.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got an echo somewhere, but it's not on anything I can do.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm not hearing it now. Yeah.
But yeah, Tulsi, she's an old school Democrat, and you know what? I may not agree with it, but we can at least deal with that.
It's at least the devil we know. Yeah.
Well, and not even that. She is what the British would refer to as the loyal opposition. Like, she still is working for the good of America. We just disagree about what that good is. And that we can deal with. Like, we can have political discussions based on.
Do you hear the echo now?
I don't anymore.
No, not me.
All right. Yeah, it has to do with the video. I just muted the video.
Okay.
Oh, and look at this. We got somebody backstage, boys and girls.
Oh, who is it?
It is that 70s rock fan. What's happening, Big Daddy?
Dad, hi.
Guys? Hello, son.
There's another one that's moving right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in an echoey room. Talking of echoes, there's nothing left in it. Well, there's some booze. There's some booze up in the corner.
The important stuff.
It's still getting used. So.
Yeah. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, mate. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I thought I would just got the chance to pop in at last and
come on
hang
in,
out
man.
with you.
We're just sitting here talking about stuff that's happening down here in the States.
So now that Tulsi's left the Democrats, does that mean Nancy Pelosi's now the hottest Democrat woman again?
God,
I may never get an erection again after hearing that.
Right? Somebody get that woman another drink, please.
That was a Babylon Bee joke, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
No,
she's all she's just showing is common sense.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
That's all she's showing.
She is showing a willingness to change her political position based on real world circumstances, and that's all I ask.
Yeah,
like we don't have to agree on what the solution is or what on anything like that. But as long as we're both working towards the common goal of trying to make the country better in any way we may disagree on how to do it.
Yeah,
but as long as we have that common ground, we can sit there and talk until the fucking sun goes dead.
Yep.
About how to fix it, and we may not agree, and we may not come to any consensus, but we're at least having a conversation based on the same things. And that's one thing I see with Democrats now is that we no longer have common ground with them.
No, it's like you get in lockstep with us, or you're against us, and we have to destroy you. I mean, they take it. It's either that pitch or this pitch.
It's very difficult to have a conversation with somebody who believes that or does not believe that biological sex exists.
Yeah,
right.
How can you? It's like where there's no common ground.
Not only that, but they're hostile to you if you have a different opinion.
Yes. Right. That he believes you should lose everything because you didn't want to take an experimental jab, for instance.
Right.
If I may quote a hypothetical scenario that won't get us all thrown off YouTube
and that may or may not have actually happened to me.
Yeah. Right. I mean, the things like that. There's just no common ground there. With like someone would call you a Yahtzee for not liking a television program,
right?
I was listening to. I don't.
You
know
didn't
who
agree
the
with state propaganda? You are a Nazi?
That's right. Yeah.
Ignore my
hell. Why
accent.
won't you sign some papers?
It has to be some
Ignore my
common
accent.
ground.
It means nothing.
Yeah, like you can't have a conversation with someone on economics if they believe that the state should own everything,
right?
And that's their position. And well, there's no common ground. Then you could, if somebody who believed that there should be a little bit this, a little bit that, you can at least converse with them. But yeah, it's
we're seeing two entirely different ideologies. Like, we don't even agree on what America is as a nation founded on ideals. Like, we don't agree on what the ideals actually are at this point, which is a troubling thing.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know. I think 70s can back me up on this. This has been it's been ramping up since the turn of the century. This polarizing thing.
This isn't new.
And
we've been when you look at the Overton window, which small time, I know you tried to address it, but it's your definition is kind of too broad. The Overton window is basically the political positions that are considered acceptable by mainstream society. And that has shifted so far to the left over the last 20 years. It's absolutely nuts.
Well, if you look at it, the 2000 election, Joe Lieberman was the vice presidential nominee. He's basically a Tulsi Gabbard. There's no way that he could ever get on a ticket now.
Oh no, absolutely not.
There's a guy you could have conversed with. Exactly. Right. I mean, his particularly in foreign policy.
And when you look back to my parents' generation, to like the JFK era, Kennedy would have been like a hard right Republican, like MAGA Republican now.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's the other thing I was going to say. I know that this is not the Democrat Party I remember in my youth at all. They were the anti-war party. They were the peace lovers. They were the hippies. They didn't want us getting involved in stuff. They wanted us staying home.
No, remember when the left was actually like anti-surveillance state, anti-authoritarian, and like actual like civil libertarians,
anti-foreign intervention, etc., yeah.
Which which I take kind of remember when Obama campaigned against the Patriot Act in 2008, and the Republicans were like, "Yeah, he has a fucking point. Let's support him on that." Right. And then he got elected, and no one ever said a fucking word about it.
Yeah. No, they just kept renewing it, right? Kept re-upping
every single administration except Trump.
No,
he tried to do away with it, and unfortunately, McConnell fucked him on it in the Senate.
Of course, because he's a tool.
Yeah. Imagine if
McConnell was also one of the guys behind writing the Patriot Act, so he has a personal skin in the game at this point.
Imagine if Trump talked Tulsi Gabbard into being his running mate.
God, my wife and I were just talking.
I don't think it would work, because so many people would look at that and go, okay, so he has a left winger as his running mate. This is no longer acceptable.
But you're assuming that he himself is a hard right guy.
Well, he's not, but his base is. Well, he's not, but his base is. And here's the thing: you don't win elections by running to the center.
No,
but when I was in college, I studied political science. Like, this is how it works. Nobody likes a centrist.
Yep.
Even though that is the most reasonable position to take.
Yep. John McCain. Yep.
Well, John McCain's an absolute traitor. Like, he would literally and get Razor Fist going on John McCain one of these days. You'll laugh for fucking hours.
Imagine that guy, man.
Could we get her to run as long as she was naked?
I mean,
look out!
I say surfer girl, hang 10.
I say we give it a shot and see what happens.
I don't know if you saw the thumbnail for the show, but I had fun doing that today. I mean, she is a surfer chick. I love it. Yes.
We have Red Shirt in the chat.
Do we? All right.
Hey, Red Shirt.
How you doing? Good to see you.
You guys think you got problems? At least you're not behind the maple curtain. That's all I can say.
Yeah. True. Now, yeah. You want to talk about a Yahtzee? Oh my God. What?
Yeah. Although, I mean, I am moving to Alberta, and the new Alberta Premier said some interesting things. She said some interesting stuff today. She's never seen people more discriminated against in his history or whatever than the unvaccinated. So
I mean, she's right. Although the fact that you guys call their leader a premier somewhat scares me.
I never thought about that. Good point. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess
that's one of those like narrow eyes memes of like.
If you'd like to get in here, let me know how to reach you, and I will definitely.
I usually call them other things.
Well, I mean,
not repeatable on YouTube.
Well, I mean, my dad always told me, and it's really true, that like every politician is one form of son of a bitch or another.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, they're not. None of them are good.
None of them. Yeah. Come on. Even Mr. Trump, as much. This is the thing I always get on my buddy about. My best friend in the entire world is a huge Trump fan, and he acts like that guy's stuff doesn't stink. And I'm like, man, he's a businessman. Trust me. He's done some bad stuff. It's just
that blows my fucking mind that politicians have fans now.
Well,
I know.
It's important that we don't fall into the habit of like cult of personality to where we just
like
we
worship everything. I agreed with Trump on a lot of stuff, but there is stuff he did that I don't like, and I've not been shy about saying that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what happens when politicians have slavish, devoted fans? You get a Stalin, and you get a Hitler, and you get a Mussolini, and that's what you get.
That's when you need to start really raising eyebrows and start being very afraid of what's going on, because nothing good comes of that.
Yeah. One thing that was really I found very interesting. I watched an interview one time with how you doing, Thunderheart? Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Thunderheart. Yourself. Good Canadian.
How's it going, my friend?
I saw an interview with who's the guy that runs the Blaze? Glenn Beck.
Yep.
And apparently he's one of the guys that Trump talks to, apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were having lunch one time, and according to him in an interview, he said that Trump was nowhere near prepared for what he was facing when he walked in there. He said he had to basically fight for his life every day of the presidency.
Oh, it showed.
And
he would believe they were acting in good faith around him and whatever, and they weren't. There was no good faith. They were out to get him from minute one. Yeah.
Yeah, because he wasn't a politician. He wasn't going to go with their script.
Well, he upset the apple cart, really. I mean, the whatever you want to call it, whichever metaphor you want to use, gravy train, apple cart.
Right.
He upset it. And,
he did. I was kind of scared when he launched those. I was kind of scared when he launched those missiles into Yemen. Or Syria. Excuse me, Syria. When he did that in retaliation for the gas attack, I was kind of worried there. I was like, oh man, don't get us into another one of these things, dude. We've got enough of them going on.
And me and one of my leftist buddies, who unfortunately has since stopped talking to me, he's one of the reasons I started playing guitar. He's a really brilliant guitar player. But we actually had kind of a moment of connection on that one where we're all just kind of sitting there, like we're both kind of sitting there DMing each other, like, could we please just not get involved in another stupid war in the Middle East for like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Like just for a year or two. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice. Be real nice. I was so worried he was going to get us into something, but I think, excuse me, he was listening to somebody he trusted, and turned out not to be the case. You know, he reeled it in after that. So
yeah, I mean, obviously I served under Jim Mattis, so I absolutely adore that man.
Yeah.
And we would do pretty much anything for him. And I love how, like, I remember 2016, we were actually trying to get him to run for president. I loved his response, because basically his reaction to all the Marines trying to get him to run was, I don't know what I've done to offend you, but I do not want that job.
Well, you know, the story is, and this is, now you got to take it with a grain of salt, because where I heard it was Alex Jones.
Yeah.
But, one of the stories was that a few generals went down to see him and asked him to run for president.
Yeah.
More
than one.
And that I find rings true. You know what I mean?
And not just generals. All over his social media, guys like me and all the other Marines that from my era especially, were all like, yes, sir, please run.
Yep.
And this is the kind of guy that one of the things that cemented him in the hearts and minds of his troops was this one story from early on, or fairly early on in his command of the division. And apparently this young Marine was standing his post as, the sergeant of the guard.
Mm-hmm.
And the general came into that building on whatever business. And, the guy's just sitting there at his desk, just kind of feeling sad about himself, because this is like, right before the Thanksgiving block leave.
Right.
So he asked him, like, "Hey, Marine, what's going on? You seem kind of down." He's like, "Well, sir, I'm supposed to, get a flight home to see my family, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to go because I have duty for the next 24 hours. So I'm going to miss my flight."
Mm-hmm.
And he literally goes, "Son, go pack your shit. I will have a flight ready for you by the time you get back." And then proceeded to stand that post for the rest of that day as the sergeant of the guard, as a 4-star general.
Wow.
He relieved him of that post himself and stood it. That's
awesome. Awesome. That's how you earn the respect of men.
Yeah, that's one of those. Is like, that's a real fucking Marine right there.
Yep.
Like,
mm-hmm. Yep.
Taking care of his troops and making the sacrifice himself rather than ordering someone else to do it.
And by the way, I've been told not to use the term former Marine.
Yeah, there are
correct.
no former Marines. Yeah, no doubt. They are
we're
always
just out.
Marines.
We're just out. We're just
right.
out. We're never not Marines.
That's it. I've said to people many times that these are the folks that guys like me and Metallicus and other people that have served in the military. They're the ones that they're probably going to be keeping an eye on in the future.
Oh yeah, probably
we know how to wage war, and it's
probably 70s too. I mean, he probably knows how to do something. You can run our radio station.
There you go.
I can
That's
do that.
It.
I actually was part of the volunteer radio station on the Air Force.
Nice.
Base. I did my apprenticeship for 3 years, the training base. So
I
did a three-year technical apprenticeship with the Air Force, but we had our own radio station, so I'd be spinning the discs. And the DJing too at the club. So
70s rock fan radio seems to be going pretty good when YouTube's not trying to not trying to whack us.
Cooling me down.
We got to watch our step over the next couple of months here. Well, until the 8th anyway. Because man. But to wrap this up on Tulsi, I've liked to watch. I've liked watching her evolution from when I first started watching her. Before that, the time she was running for president, and I've enjoyed watching her. And I just think she comes off as a genuine person. Yeah, I don't see eye to eye with her on a lot of things, but when it comes to keeping our forces safe, she's going to do that, and she's
doing the best thing for our armed forces overall too. Like, she's not just about like, let's not send them anywhere because somebody might get hurt. No,
she's not.
Like, she's like, if we need,
take you out.
It's like, if we need to send the troops somewhere, let's do it, but let's make sure we're doing it for the right reasons and that we have a plan.
That's it.
Which that is proper leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a common complaint of countries outside of the US, and I do not mean this as a personal criticism, because I love America and I've lived there and worked there.
Right.
But why is America
get back? I know that about you.
So involved in all these other countries since the Second World War, particularly?
Because we're the world hegemon at this point. Like, we can fill that power vacuum, and unfortunately, if we don't, someone else will.
Well, yeah, but I mean, should there really be American military bases in 150 countries?
That's true. I mean, we take what the British were doing to a whole new level, but and
exactly, it's the same thing. Now, my view has always been, and it doesn't just apply to America, it's Britain and Canada, whatever. Like, if somebody wants to act like an ass in their own country and it's got nothing to do with us, why the hell should we get involved? Why should we spill one drop of blood?
To an extent, I agree. Like, obviously when shit like, Somalia or something like that is going down, we have to get involved. Because that's an ethnic cleansing at that point. Like, we can't just allow that shit to happen and do nothing.
Yeah. I feel you on that one. But like Iraq and Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, I can see why we were there, and the problem was, in my opinion, especially as a guy who served there, we lost sight of the mission.
Yeah.
Oh, by a long shot.
No kidding.
So it turned from trying to root out the Taliban and destroy Al Qaeda into trying to build Afghanistan into a modern democracy, and that's where we fucked up. They don't want our democracy. They don't want our culture.
No one's been able to do that there for thousands of years.
The only one who even remotely succeeded was Genghis Khan, and that was because he's the most brutal asshole who's ever lived.
Exactly.
He wasn't fair about it, that's for sure.
Yeah, but we kept wasting people's lives there doing that, and then for what? For nothing in the end.
Or as we all call Genghis Khan, Granddad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because apparently it's an obscene percentage of the world.
I think it's like 30. It's like 30 or 40% of humanity actually is directly related to that. Well, do you know that
almost every person living today is descended from Charlemagne?
Yes.
Almost everyone has some of his DNA in them.
Because in his case, he had so many fucking kids.
Yeah, and then of course they have kids and they have kids. But Genghis Khan, not only that, Genghis Khan was that close to ruling the entire known world. Mm-hmm. He was only turned back in Europe at the gates of Vienna by a concerted effort, and then he only got turned back in Asia by the Japanese.
Due to a weather phenomenon.
Yeah, a typhoon basically destroyed his second invading army of Japan. The first one they beat. The second one was 100 times larger.
Thank Mother Nature for that one.
Mother Nature destroyed that, and then he was beaten. Like if he'd won both of those, the world would look very different today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I love that stuff. It's fascinating.
No, it's really cool to see those like watershed moments in history. Like, what if Alexander had actually reached India?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the world could be various times. It could have been that different. It was that close. I mean, I love alternative history stuff. Robert Silverberg wrote a great book called Roma Eterna. The Roman Empire never ended.
Whoa!
And then it follows it through history and right up into what was the present day. And there's technology, but the Roman Empire still exists.
Well, one of the cool ones for me is there's this, kind of idea of what if America had never left Britain.
Oh, another one. Yeah, the British Empire could still be ruling the world.
It would still be ruling the world because
some people say it still does.
Behind the scenes, when you consider like the power that America ended up being, especially in the industrial age, and like the sheer amount of industrial, not only resources but industrial capacity that would have given the British. Would have been absolutely on another scale from what we saw.
George III had to do was not be such a twat.
That's really all it was. And the funny part is
such a twat.
And the funny part was I was actually just watching a thing on the 7 Years' War last night. Everyone's like, "Oh, George's position was, oh well, the colonists have to pay for their war. We're the ones that fought it."
Yeah.
Like almost everyone in the colonies was part of the colonial militias that were fighting either the natives or the French.
That's the feudal mindset.
True.
Yeah. He was still exhibiting that appointed by God feudal mindset. If you think it was bad for people in America, imagine what it was like if you actually lived in Britain.
That's true.
He screwed the shit out of everybody.
That's the one thing a lot of people forget. Around the time of the Revolution, he was taxing the shit out of everybody, even his own people, trying to get ready for a war with France.
Yeah, but had to pay for all that.
The crazy
thing revolts in Britain at the time.
Yeah, the crazy thing that I thought in Parliament at the time too was that they had these what they called pocket boroughs, which were basically members of Parliament who didn't actually have a district. Like they were just kind of there.
There was a name, and that was it.
Yeah, and meanwhile, colonies like the United States, the Caribbean, anything in the Caribbean, India, none of it was actually represented in Parliament with a representative, but you had MPs that literally had districts that did not exist. Yeah, that did not exist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, those were the prime. If you got one of those, you were like minted.
Well, yeah.
They probably had money though.
Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee they did.
They're to buy them, or you were given them for political reasons and for influence. So.
Or because you were somebody's cousin.
Well, I know this much. I know this much. The one thing I do like about Miss Gabbard is she is willing to talk to anybody.
Yes, she is.
And
Well, yeah,
the
and
conversation is the important part.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yep, no problem.
And her first inclination is not to call you an ist or a phobe or whatever.
No, it's to find out where you're coming from. And I think it's, it's refreshing, man. I've often said that political discourse is something that's dead in this country. And she's kind of a spark that lets me think, hey, maybe we might get it back one of these days. Let's see, just another red shirt. The minister for the intersection of King Roads.
There's a pub there. That's your fiefdom, the pub.
Yes, there it is. Okay, let's move on to another subject here. We'll go ahead and stay in the political sphere. Hang on a second. Let me pull up this article real quick. I saw this on Breitbart today, and pretty interesting. My wife, when she heard me talking about this, she thought that maybe something like this had already happened, and I was like, no, according to this article, it's the first time ever. Texas County calls for statewide vote on secession from the United States. A rural southwest Texas County Commissioner's Court called on the legislature to put a secession question on the 2023 general election ballot. The resolution passed Tuesday by Edwards County calls for Texas to secede from the U.S. and return to being an independent nation. Let me see.
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah,
but those are real grievances when you read them.
Yes, I was fixing to say. Let me go ahead and finish reading the beginning of this because you're going to find it interesting. Edwards County commissioners released a resolution Tuesday night listing a litany of grievances against the United States, including the national debt, usurpation of states' rights, restrictions on private industry, curbs on the Second Amendment, and failures to enforce immigration laws, among others.
Oh no, I don't doubt that they have legitimate grievances. We do too. The problem is, we're just going to leave. That's not the answer. Ask South Vietnam how that went.
Right. Yeah.
Or South Korea, for that matter.
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
There's also so many legal entanglements that would make that almost impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do in principle agree, though, that if the states are to be regarded as what they were originally, as sovereign, independent nations tied up in a United States with a constitution, that if they feel that's worthless now, they should have the right to leave.
Well, they should have the right to replace that government, not leave the union entirely.
One state, though. One state can't do that.
No, they can't, which is why we have such a great system, is that you can do all of this with a 2/3 majority in either the federal government or 2/3 of the states convening a convention of the states to actually change the Constitution.
I think a better approach would be, rather than them asking to leave, if they banded together with other states and threw other states out, like Oregon or California,
well, not throw them out,
Washington, throw them out.
Not throw them out of the union, it would just take away their representation on the federal level.
Yeah.
Because they've clearly operated in violation of the states' rights. Like when you look, it's funny. Like the only time the left has ever heard of the 10th Amendment was right after COVID, when Trump actually wanted to start imposing restrictions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They were all screaming about the 10th Amendment. But now that they're back in charge again, it's just like, oh yeah, that thing doesn't exist. Everything needs to happen on the federal level. Like what? No, that's not how this goes.
Comments by just another red shirt. He says South Korea wasn't created by South Korea. Ditto South Vietnam. Western incorrect. Diplomats did
meddling
that.
By the West.
Yeah.
That's
and
incorrect.
He also says after World War II, most of the Middle East was created the same way after World War I.
That's correct. The one with Korea is not.
Yep.
That was a deal reached between the Korean parties because there was a Korean Civil War just after World War II. And that was the dividing line they came up with, the 38th parallel. And then inevitably, the North Koreans attacked them. Same thing with South Vietnam. Mm-hmm. After the Viet Minh kicked the French out, they divided the country up into what capitalist and communist. And then the communists immediately started infiltrating the South.
Yep. Well, you know, I just thought it was an interesting article because if any state is fully prepared to leave the Union
it would be
and have its own economy.
I do have my Texan t-shirt.
I was fixing to say, I know that Dallas Stars fan would know what I'm talking about. That state with its resources and everything, they would be just fine.
Actually, I wouldn't say just fine, because they had the same exact situation when they were first formed, and they joined the United States because they weren't functioning on their own as a normal country.
Resources are different now, though. I mean,
that is
oil and gas.
That is true, yeah.
But I mean, anyone who's spent any time in Texas knows that the feeling for Texas amongst Texans is very strong.
Oh yeah.
Just another red shirt says California is already
has been for a
infiltrating
long time,
Texas.
Yeah, and other ones like Arizona.
Leaving aside patriotism to the United States, I've always been a great believer that the best government is the most local government you can get.
Well, and that's how our system was initially designed.
And I feel, though, that if a group of people determined enough wish to govern themselves, then they should probably be allowed to do so. I know that's a sweeping statement, because how big does the group have to be, and what agreements have they made that they would have to break to do that, and so on. But
in principle, I agree, but that's not how human societies work, and that's not how nations have ever worked. Is if you're a tiny little society that
perhaps nations are the problem. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, nations exist for a reason, and they evolved on their own. Like, it wasn't like this thing that was imposed on everyone.
Well,
these national governments evolved over time.
Hence the attempted destruction of Western nations by the globalist powers who are flooding them with immigrants and so on. It's an attempt to destroy Western nationhood. So
it is, and the nation states, especially, and let's face it, the Eastern zone has always hated the Western nation states since the time of Greece. Like, they've been trying to conquer the West ever since.
Did you guys see the story? I think it was last week that the is it the governor or the mayor of New York?
That's the mayor of New York.
Was it the mayor of New York?
Eric Adams.
The state of emergency for all the immigrants coming in?
Yeah. We never agreed to this. Yeah, we never agreed to this.
And yet,
yes, you did.
And yet, not a month.
Yes, you did.
Neither did Texas.
Well, and not a month before, he was saying how all immigrants should be able to go wherever they want, and they're all welcome. And yet, congratulations, fucko. Here you go.
There you go. We're gonna send them to you. See how you like it.
It's like, Texas and New Mexico never agreed to it either.
Yeah,
no.
Fuck face.
They didn't get a choice in the matter.
Yeah,
because these people, or Florida for that matter, these people just kind of showed up. I loved when DeSantis sent all those immigrants to Martha's Vineyard too. Because for those of you who don't know Martha's Vineyard, it is the most elitist, snobby place on the fucking
place
planet.
There is,
latest, richest, elitist.
And the misconception is they weren't taken there against their will.
No, they wanted to go.
These people are consenting to go where they're being taken.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
There's an expression, and I don't know if it's in the UK, but I don't know if it exists in America. NIMBY, not in my backyard.
Oh yeah.
So they're NIMBYs.
Yeah,
we're Sanctuary City, but don't bring anybody here.
Don't do as I do, do as I say.
The funniest part about all that is my granddad's wife, who lives down on the Cape, even still. Like, they were trying to build this big wind farm out in Cape Cod Sound, and they're all in favor of this green energy and all this bullshit.
Not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard.
It was the exact thing. And when she found out where they wanted to put it, she was like, "Oh my God, they can't put it there. It'll ruin the view of the ocean and all that." And meanwhile, me and my granddad and my dad, all of whom are fairly conservative, are all just looking at her like, "This is your party."
So it's for somebody else has to stand up.
Exactly. As long as they don't have to deal with it, it's fine.
Yeah. Let me get to some of these comments, guys. Just another red shirt says Martha's Vineyard called out the National Guard.
They did. The governor did, but
this is the Iraq War vet in my family. There, Pope. That is my stepson David.
Hail,
that's
sir.
the Royal Fox's
All
son.
right. Hello.
How you doing, Big Daddy? Good to see you. Let's see. Just Another Red Shirt says, I've been to Martha's Vineyard. The shop clerks are insufferable, elitist snobs.
That's
just the shop clerks.
Yeah, and they're the least of it.
Yes.
If you actually talk to any of the people that like live there, it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Argon says, hello. Yeah. I've known about Martha's Vineyard my whole life because my dad's from Boston. When I heard they were, when I saw the first story about them sending immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, I said, wow, they just pissed off some very powerful people.
Joe in 70s, I know you guys will get this reference. I mean, the younger people who may be listening, maybe not, but if you want to picture like what people from like the Cape and Martha's Vineyard are like, picture the Howells from Gilligan's Island, and that is exactly what they're
That's
like.
It. That's them.
Oh, I've been there.
They even have the same accent, like "Oh, lovey."
That's it.
They're very English.
They are.
Let's see.
Otherwise,
Just Another Red
they
Shirt
have a
says,
stick up their ass.
I once asked to see a gold necklace for my girlfriend, and the jewelry store clerk refused because they said she didn't think I could afford it. Yeah, well, you know what? You can kiss my butt, chick. Whatever. Yeah, but you know what? They moved there because it's one of the prettier places on the planet, and
beautiful place. But,
no doubt.
I thought it was hilarious how much they applauded when the immigrants were taken away.
Yeah. We love you. We love you. Now fuck off.
Exactly. Get lost. Yeah. It's man.
We've got nowhere to put you. Well, I don't know. Each of these mansions appears to have about 20 bedrooms. Couldn't you put them in one of those? Oh well, no, that's different.
But that's just one of the things. One of the grievances they raised. All of these. A lot of states could. The national debt, usurpation of states' rights, a lot of these things they could complain about.
I just think that you have to have whatever the rules are for secession. They should, and this is for any country, as long as they're high. As long as the threshold is high, then I think it should be legal. But the reading I did a little earlier, I can't find where it's actually legal to break away.
The only time something may be illegal, but if you achieve it and get away with it, and everyone has to accept it, then that matters not.
Right?
Yeah. To the victor goes the spoil.
Yes. Legality is just words.
Yes.
If enough people said "fuck you," we're doing it, then that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
For instance, the experimental injections last year.
Yeah,
they said Britain could never leave the EU. Well, it did.
Well, guess what?
Well, they said America could never leave Britain. Well,
that's right.
Guess what? That shit happened too.
Yep.
You fight. That's the only example of breaking or of illegality. The only example where it becomes irrelevant when you win.
Exactly.
Yeah. Argon says the right to secession was removed from the Constitution after the Civil War.
I mean,
the
Union side would argue that it was never in there to begin with. I disagree with that. But
I know there was some legislation in the late 1860s that I remember seeing. It must have been that.
Oh, it was. But the real thing is, regardless of ideologically and legally, I agree that those states had the right to secede. The problem is no empire ever takes that well. They never lose territory by choice.
No.
Oh, what I'm saying is if it happened, I don't know that it would be entirely peaceful.
No, it would never be peaceful.
No.
The only time I've ever seen an empire divide itself like that peacefully was actually Rome. Because what they realized was that Rome was way too large to govern effectively.
Yep.
So Byzantium.
So you ended up with the Byzantine Empire and the Western,
which lasted 500 years longer than.
Which is hilarious. Rome itself fell in the 550-ish AD, and then
Yeah, Constantinople carried on for another 500 years or
like
more.
Lasted into like the 1400s.
More, yeah.
Well, the USSR was split up.
It split relatively.
That wasn't by choice, really. They ran out of money, and all of a sudden, the Communist Party stopped being in charge.
I don't think there was any fighting going on over it, though.
It damn near happened.
Yeah,
in a couple of the republics.
I think we're seeing that now. I think, and a lot of people may disagree with me, but I think that Putin is trying to put it back together. I that's what I think.
Only for those, I believe, though, that wish to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe, in honor of the privateer, I am drinking some artisanal black rum today.
There you go, man. Nice. There you go. Nice.
So, gentlemen, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave.
Are you? Okay.
Yes, well, because you
mentioned
coming, Byzantium, and that's a trigger issue for me.
No, fair enough.
I'm triggered.
That's your Manchurian candidate.
Is it Istanbul? Is it Istanbul or Constantinople?
It's I don't know. It sounds like a song to me by the
They Might Be Giants. Yeah.
They Might Be Giants. That's right. I love that song.
That song is great, especially because it is such a history nerd song, and only nerds will get it.
Total nerd song. I love it.
Do you really have to go, buddy?
I do, because I have Mrs. Rockfan and I have something to go and do.
Okay.
We're leaving at 5, so
let
I've
me
got to
give
get
you
ready.
the floor, and you can go ahead and plug your wares, my friend. Go for it.
Well, I have wares indeed. Now over 600 subs on my YouTube channel. That 70s rock fan. I have actually got very.
That's right. Congratulations on that, man.
Thanks.
Yes.
And I've now got 3 followers on Rumble. So
3. I got 2. I'm gonna catch you.
I know one of them does watch the videos. Yeah, I got no fixed plans for the next few days. I'm making a couple of videos, and I have plans for a few things, but I got nothing specific to promote other than Midnight's Edge After Dark tomorrow at 4 p.m. as usual. So, but I'm sure I'll be seeing you all on something and joining you on something very soon.
Absolutely, man. You know that.
Good to hang out in your channel, Joe. Thanks.
Always, man. You are always welcome.
And it's good to spend time with my son.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And small time. It's good to see you, Matt.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, enjoy the rest of the show, and I'll see you guys later somewhere.
Have
All right, take care. I'm not like comics. I don't punch people out. You go.
No, I'm just going to slide out.
That's it, brother. All right. You take care of yourself, man. It's always good to see him.
No,
he is
a great dude.
He invites me to more stuff that he does than anybody else does. So I have blocked out my Mondays just for him. So if he needs me, I'm there.
I don't invite you to stuff. I just let you know that, hey,
you're
always fucking welcome.
I'm always welcome, yes. But I don't go on your show a lot right now because of football season.
Yeah, that's true. I do my show Sunday afternoons.
From noon to 10 o'clock at night. I do 10 hours of football straight, my brother.
Although, if the Patriots are playing the Seahawks this year, we got to fucking do a stream for that.
We should do a reaction stream, right? And put the game on,
or just like a watch party that we put on.
Watch party, yeah, that'd be awesome. We could probably do that on Twitch. We might get in trouble on YouTube, but I know you can show stuff over on Twitch.
Because that should be hilarious. Us just talking shit back and forth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Let's see what do we got here. Yeah, they're saying bye to 70s Rocks fan. Okay. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting article. Apparently it is the first case of anybody as far as a government body in Texas,
at least since 1865,
asking for
the actual
it to be
case
put
of succession,
on the ballot for the state to vote on. As much as you hear a lot of guys, of course, I live right next door to Texas. I'm like 2.5 hours from Dallas. I'm only like 20 minutes from the state line down I-20. And you hear a lot of Texans talking about, we need to leave the union, blah, 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 talking a lot of noise. But
this isn't the first time they've tried it.
No.
I think if any state did it, it would be them.
Yeah. It would be them. Yeah.
If any state did it and could make it work, it would be them.
It would be them. It's simply because of their oil resources. And but But to
and the fact
I don't
that
know
they
who
have more
said it
guns
earlier. I
per,
think it
per
was
square
just
mile than
I
anywhere
think it
else
was
in the
just
U.S.
another red shirt mentioned that California's being is invading Texas. All you have to do is look at Austin to see that.
Unfortunately, like, you know, everyone's celebrating that the liberals are all leaving. This is the problem with places like California, is they turn themselves into such hellholes that all the people who can't afford to leave do. And
Right.
unfortunately, they then move to a new place and keep voting for the same shit. We've seen it in I live right on the Mass-New Hampshire border.
Okay.
And we see it in New Hampshire all the time, where people move up to New Hampshire because they're sick of all the taxes and bullshit in Massachusetts, and then keep voting for the same kind of policies that made Massachusetts what it was.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like, just stay in Mass.
Yep. New Hampshire should be the anti-Massachusetts.
Exactly. And in a lot of ways, the people who actually are from New Hampshire are.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hell, a lot of the people who are from Massachusetts are the anti-Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But
eventually
it gets to the point where a state like this, or California or New York, like, I hate, like, honestly, it took time for me to, like, not hate leaving, because I feel like I'm giving up.
Yeah, that's something I was going to bring up. I was like, why wouldn't you try and fight for your state before you leave it?
And I have for the last 20 years. And, you know, I mean, and it's not like first of all, I don't have any personal power, but I am part of the Mass RNC. I actually used to work for Jim Lyons, the head of our state party. I've met Governor Baker on repeated occasions. Actually, I was actually joking with him at one point, because this was when I was working for Jim, and he was coming to pick up his Christmas tree, and when the three of us were together, I'm like, well, if you want me to get my dad on the phone, we can just have a party meeting. All four of us are around, because like nice. That's how small the party is in Massachusetts at this point.
Wow,
it's just so heartbreaking to see that, like, the National Party is somewhat to blame as well, because they've just given up.
Yeah.
Well, which I hate to see, but but I understand it on one level, but at the same time, in that it's my home. Red shirt, you understand where I'm at.
Yeah, he's stating it right there. I am a political refugee from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I'm in about a month. I will be too.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of your Republicans that have been elected to office in Massachusetts, you know, are milk toast, or
they're not really Republicans.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure how hardcore like Scott Brown was, or, you know,
he was basically a centrist.
Romney wasn't,
which is all that can get elected in Massachusetts, is like a centrist Republican, if not an outright leftist like Maura Healey, who unfortunately is going to win. And I'm really glad we are leaving.
Yeah,
because I don't want to live in a state that's run by her, because she's a lunatic.
Yeah. Let's see. Just another red shirt says 2 words: Mitt Romney. Yeah, I just mentioned.
Oh
yeah. I mean, you know, but. The thing I'm proud of, that my lineage is from Boston, and the thing I'm proudest of is I think Matt actually visited it before. I think you heard you talking about it on whatever cast, Freedom Trail. I mean, basically, Boston is the home of the American Revolution.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, all the major occurrences happened there before they happened anywhere else.
Well, I mean, there's a statue of one of my ancestors on Lexington Green.
Cool. Yep.
One of my ancestors is John Parker.
Wow. Lexington and Concord, man.
Basically the first time we told England to fuck off.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Have you guys ever watched this is my favorite show about it, because I think the main reason why it's my favorite show about it is they show how instrumental a guy whose name isn't even on the Constitution or no document, a guy named Sam Adams, was in the crafting of the revolution. That show, Sons of Liberty. Have you watched that?
Yes, I have.
I love that show.
I mean, it's dramatized as to how it's as how it actually happened, but it is actually quite good.
It is one of the better. Yeah, nothing's perfect, but
now, if I was
the thing I really love about it is how they paint. how they paint Benjamin Franklin in it. I thought that was awesome. They had him drunk and
he
womanizing.
He was a
and
freak, right?
Well,
Yeah,
no,
he
he
was.
was. And I don't know how people think that that's like slandering the man. That was publicly known. He'd be proud of that image.
Right. Exactly. I love the way they showed him in that show.
I mean, we are talking about the man who literally wrote a treatise on the advantages of taking an older woman as a lover.
Right.
And I'm not kidding. You can still buy it.
Yeah, I'm sure
it's hilarious.
But I've always loved that show, and I've always told people there's a reason why the New England Patriots have a patriot as their mascot. It's because that's where the revolution started, man. And
it shames me to see where our state's at now compared to where we started in terms of our policies. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to rebel against the king, so because he's taxing the shit out of us and trying to take our guns away. Well,
that's a sad thing right there that
it really is.
Red Shirt wrote. Boston is now embarrassed to be the home of the American Revolution.
Now the Massachusetts state government, at least, if not the feds, are trying to tax the shit out of us and take our guns away. Oh, so it's just like, do you guys not remember how this worked out the first time?
Right.
Because it didn't go well.
No.
For anyone.
Didn't. No. Big fight.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to move on to our last subject here, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but I wanted to touch on it. It is a show on Disney Plus called Werewolf by Night. It's not a series. It's not a movie. It's a special presentation. It was only a little bit less than an hour long. And the thing I thought was cool about it is it had the man thing in it, man. That was really cool, I thought. But did either one of you guys see this?
Yeah, I got to see it. I thought it was good. It was one of those things where it was sort of disposable in the sense that you watch it, you enjoy it, but then you kind of move on. It's not one of those things where I don't think they'll necessarily have a sequel to it, although they may in just a different form. But I thought it was good in the sense that it was, there was no message that I could detect in it in terms of, the things that we've been complaining about for 5 or 6 years now.
Right.
I didn't detect that in it. So
the woke agenda was not prevalent in it. No, it was not.
I've just not seen anything about it.
Oh, really? Yeah. It flew under the radar, man. It flew.
Although I'm at the point where if I see Marvel or Disney anywhere near something, I actively avoid being involved in it in any way, shape, or form.
To let you know, just to let you know, of course, I'll give anything a chance, Pope. I've given up on Star Wars. I've been watching Andor, but I haven't seen the latest episode yet. But I am enjoying that one so far. But it's not like it's a killer show or anything. It's just it's better than anything they've put out so far. So it's a low bar.
It's kind of like a battered spouse coming back. It's like, well, he doesn't use the belt anymore, so that's an improvement.
He only hit me once.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm the same way with Star Trek. Like, Strange New Worlds may not be the best show ever written, but at least it feels like Star Trek again.
Right.
So you know what? I'm willing to give it a chance.
Yeah, I gave it a chance too, and the only episode I really cringed at was the one where they were fighting the Predator alien.
Oh yeah,
I was like, God, guys, come up with something new.
And the one I really liked was the one where like the alien was creating all of the daughter's fantasies.
Yes, that was really cool. I thought that was neat. That was kind of like a Q thing.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed Mbenga's arc in that he's a really good dad, just trying to save his kid.
Right,
and he is like the most tragic figure in that entire season for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah. The thing.
Now I have my issues with the show, but at least it feels like Trek, and it feels like they're trying to. And people were groaning in the first episode because of the January 6th footage and stuff like that, which I get. But they've always been on the progressive side, so I knew that was coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hell, original Trek was progressive for its time.
Oh God,
They had so many people on there you didn't see on television every day. You want to talk about diversity? Just look at the crew.
They had to censor a scene in some parts of the country because showing a white man kissing a black woman in 1968 was a fucking no-no in some parts of the country.
Hell, we had just gotten out of the 50s where the women had to have at least 1 foot on the floor, you know?
And one of the funny things is there was even like everyone like looks at the South like that's like they've always been racist and stuff like that. But even they were changing a little bit.
Yep.
Just to the point where in 1955, when Chuck Berry released Johnny Be Good, like, you know, his big song, the lyrics that you hear on the radio now are not the original lyrics to that song.
No, they aren't. You're absolutely correct.
And they had to change that so it could get played on the radio, even in the South. So even they realized that certain things were not acceptable. So things were starting to change.
What I was going to tell you about the show we're talking about, though, was, have you seen the movie Van Helsing?
Yes.
Have you seen that movie with Hugh Jackman? That's what it is, man.
Okay.
That's what it is, only it's shot in black and white.
And all right, I can dig it.
It's an ode to the old monster movies is what it is. And
like we were just talking about on Monday with Hammer.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing I thought was cool about it was, I mean, there's so, for those of us that are huge movie fans, there was so many little idiosyncrasies, like they showed scratches on the film, kind of. And I don't know if you've ever seen those real changing markers.
Yep.
They would be up in the corner of the screen. They show those. And we know they're not changing the real, but I pointed out to my wife, I was like, did you see that? She goes, what? And I ran it back. I said, that's a real change marker. They actually put those in there.
That warms the heart a little bit because you know they had to go back in and add that.
Yeah. Yeah, they went out of their way to make it look like an old movie from the 50s.
Like an old monster movie, like, you know, Creature of the Black Lagoon or, you know, something like that, which I fucking love.
Now, if I do have, and by the way, spoilers, folks, if you haven't seen this, I may be spoiling something for you, so relax. I'm one of these guys that doesn't care about spoilers, but I know a lot of people do. I think that they have the main thrust of it, Pope, is there's this thing called the Bloodstone, and they have to the possessor of it has died, and the monster hunters get together to decide who is going to carry it forward into the future. And it has to be a monster hunter that carries it, right? This is for hunting monsters.
The Bloodstone, huh?
Yeah, the Bloodstone.
None of them were involved in Judas Priest at any point in the 80s, were they?
I don't know, brother. I think so.
You were on that stream.
I know. But yeah, Elsa Bloodstone is one of the characters in it, which if I got a big problem with this thing, it's ginger side. They made her a brunette. She's supposed to be redheaded. Yeah, but I do like the actress
that is still a shame because a good redhead should never go to waste.
Come on, bro, never put one to waste. Exactly. But anyway, the one thing that they did do in the show, I thought that they shouldn't have done in case they want to do more of these, was they basically wipe out all the monster hunters during the thing.
Yeah,
and I thought that would have been cool to have them come back and you know, be part of the story, or maybe even be bad guys in it, you know, that kind of thing. But,
well, I mean, it could be cool to see like them kind of get rebuilt,
right? Yeah, which could happen, Frankenstein style, right? Yeah,
exactly. Or like, or just rebuild the organization.
Yeah,
because you know, almost like for those of you guys who played the Assassin's Creed games, like you're doing an Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. And Christopher Smith, you and me both, my man. A redhead with a nice ass will make me do remarkably
that is
stupid
my boy.
things.
That is my boy, Dallas. Yes, he's my best friend in the entire world. He lives across the Red River from me, and yes, he has 2 ex-wives that are redheads. So yeah, I can attest to that fact. They are
redheads will make me do remarkably stupid things.
But to just give my concise view on it, I enjoyed it. Me and my wife both enjoyed it because, it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it is a cool ode to the old monster movies.
It's fun,
and,
at least, which that's all we ask. It doesn't have to be Citizen Kane.
No.
It doesn't have to be Star Wars. Like, it just has to be fun again.
Yeah, that's it.
And also, I mean, the runtime's probably 45, 50 minutes. So,
I mean, look at Top Gun Maverick. Look at Top Gun Maverick and how that's been doing, and the fact that it absolutely shattered every freaking prediction for it.
Oh, Bud Pope, we on my show that we do on Thursdays, me and my brother's show. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but we cover media at one point, and I always show the top 10 box office, right?
And Dude, Maverick's been in there since fucking June.
Look, it's been in the top 10. It's been in the top 5 up until a month ago.
Yeah, and the fact that a movie is in theaters for that long.
Well, here's the other thing.
Insane these days.
You could buy it for $20 a month ago, and people were still shelling out, what, $30 a head after you talk about concessions and ticket prices and everything to go see this thing in the theater.
Especially speaking as somebody who went to see it in the theater, it's fucking worth it.
Yeah, it is.
Especially with that huge surround sound with the roar of the fucking jet engines and all of that. Like, it is exactly what that movie needed to be.
Yeah.
And I think Tom, from minute one, knew what made the first one successful, knew what the fans wanted, and didn't stray one angstrom from that path.
Credit to him for waiting to release it after, all the COOF restrictions were lifted.
Yeah, because he did set it back. He wanted the...
Yep.
And I love the fact that the first thing you saw when you saw it in theaters, at least in the first run, was him actually just thanking you for coming out, supporting the movie, and to be like, hey, this is for you guys.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't my ego project.
You can say what you want about Tom Cruise, okay? He might be a flake. He might be a Scientologist whack job, all that good stuff. But the guy knows how to make a movie.
And he knows what movies are for and who
Every
they're for.
time I say I'm not going to see a Cruise movie, I kick myself in the ass afterwards. The last time I didn't do it was when he come out with what is it called? Edge of Tomorrow?
The one where God, that movie's fantastic. That movie's fantastic.
I could not believe it when I saw it on TV. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome.
me and my ex went to see that in theaters, and I was just like, this could be a really cool thing, or it could be a really stupid action movie. And it was a really, really good movie.
And he's made a few stinkers, but his batting average is very good.
Is very good. Yeah. I'd say the last one that I saw that I really didn't like, of course, I didn't watch The Mummy. I knew that was going to be shit.
That's one of the ones I was thinking of,
Yeah. I haven't seen it. I still haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it. But I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible series, and Mission Impossible 3 was horrible. I just...
that one was bad, but they picked it up after that.
Yes, they did. Yeah. Ghost Protocol, once again, missed it in the theater because I cashed it in, And,
well, they listened to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
They saw it that people didn't like Mission Impossible 3. Well, why not?
Yeah.
And then they fixed everything about it.
Yeah, they did. And they've been good ever since, man. Yeah.
It was the same thing. Like, this is one of the reasons Assassin's Creed 2 blew up like it did.
Mm-hmm.
Is because, not that Ubisoft would ever do that these days, but in 2008, when Assassin's Creed came out, people were like, we like it a lot, but there's, improvement to be made on these things, including the character and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, well, holy shit, Ezio looks like a rock star next to Altair.
Yeah. I've never I've got the Black Flag edition one, and I've got the one before.
Black Flag's
good. I got number 3 because it has to do with the American Revolution, and
Absolutely.
I'm a revolution nut. But I've only played 3. I've never played 4. Honestly, I hear I need to, but
you do. And honestly, I would play through 2 and Brotherhood and Revelations because it takes place in like Renaissance Italy.
Okay.
In fact, one of your not companions, but a guy you interact with a lot in the series is Leonardo da Vinci.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Well, I just, it's a stealth game at its core. I'm not really a fan of stealth games.
It kind of is and it kind of isn't.
Yeah.
Like there are certain points where you do have to be stealthy, which makes sense.
Yeah,
but there's also points
where
you can just have an all-out knockout fight with the fucking guard in the middle of the town square and not give a shit.
Yeah.
Especially later in the game when you actually have good gear.
Well, I heard that Black Flag was a lot of fun because you can get your own boat and it's kind of open world. And
honestly, I forgot I was playing Assassin's Creed and was just playing Pirate Simulator for
right
like 2 weeks when that game first came out. And then I remembered,
there's a storyline here, right? I need to go ahead and get back to that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to actually be doing
something. I'm like that with Dallas there, my buddy. He got me playing the Western game that GTA guys made. What's the name of the
Red Dead
Redemption 2.
He got
me into playing that.
The fishing is so engrossing in that game.
I play the hell out of the online. I still haven't finished the story.
I don't play online, but even just in the single player, the fishing mini game is actually fishing.
Yep, it's a lot of fun.
It's
cool.
And the fish even look like they should.
And the realism they put into the game was pretty cool. I thought it was neat. Sometimes the controls get wonky because of it, but I'll take that because
it's hard to get fish right, hard to get trees right too.
Right.
Yeah. But they did both.
Yeah. That game right there, I have never finished the storyline, and I'll tell you why it is.
You should.
Well, look, anytime they make me be a bad guy, I don't like it. I'm a good guy, dude.
You're not the bad guy, though.
I understand that, but we're robbing banks and stuff like that. I'm like,
you're not really the bad guy.
I would never rob a bank, you know? Yeah. That's another reason.
Well, I mean, that's
one of the reasons why I never got into GTA. When my stepson David would play it, and I saw that he was shooting cops and stuff, I was like, no, can't do it.
Well, this is why it's a role-playing game. You're not you. You're playing a role. Right, as Arthur Morgan.
Yeah, Chris is saying he's done it twice. He's played it through twice already. So
I love RDR2, and I love playing role-playing games like Kingdom Come Deliverance or RDR2, where you have a character.
Yeah.
That you have a say in how he progresses.
Yeah.
But he's already set.
Right. I got you.
And so it forces you to kind of act outside of your comfort zone in some cases.
Yeah.
Because you're not playing you. You're playing
I'm not saying
character.
I wouldn't finish it because I don't like it. I'm saying I'm not finishing it because I'm enjoying the online so much.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean,
that's my point. Now, unlike Last of Us 2, which I will never finish that fucking game.
Trigger.
Ever.
And the reason I've never played really online on RDR2 is, first of all, I don't do online all that much unless it's like World of Warships or something like that, like some stupid game where I can just turn my brain off,
right,
and just go have fun for a while. And or when RDR2 came out, their online mode didn't work.
Yeah, but it's much improved, dude.
It is. But I bought it day one and played through, and I've played through multiple times since. But I had so much fun with the single player campaign, that I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna go play through it again.
Yeah. Dallas says Days Gone needed to be a sandbox MMO. Days Gone is. I'm gonna have to download that. He loves that game as well. He keeps trying to get me to play that.
It's a PlayStation exclusive, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
And I'm one of those guys that will never own a PlayStation because of who owns the property.
Oh, okay, I got you. All right, well,
I hate Sony with a bloody fucking passion.
I hear you. They got my boy Spider-Man, so they got me right now, man. By the testicles.
I don't give a shit. Like, it's one of those, like, if it's on PlayStation, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, I've missed out on every God of War, on all of that shit.
Yeah.
Because
you have.
I refuse to do business with Sony Entertainment.
Do you have an Xbox One or
I have a Series X.
You have a Series. Do you like it? Because I'm thinking about.
I really do. I honestly, they're really good. And the thing, and this is another thing that fuck you, Sony bronies. The Xbox Series X is 100% back compatible If you
really? All the way back to the original Xbox?
To the there are games available on the store that weren't even available on the original Xbox. Like Star Wars Racer. Like that was N64 era.
Wow.
Yeah. That was like episode 1.
Yeah, they've updated it to the Xbox standard, and you know what? It works.
Wow.
And I actually really enjoy it.
That's cool.
But
Dallas says same
you can
here.
buy
I was
those
totally disappointed with the lack of online at release. He's talking about our Red Dead Redemption 2.
100%.
Yep.
But when it comes to back compatibility, like not only if you have the original disc does it work, if you don't, you can buy it from the store for like $2.
Well, they've had a lot of games like that since the 360. Because I played the original Fable, which it's funny. I tend to go with the system I'm playing on at the time for the game that I like. And the game I played for the last decade, and the reason why I've got so many PlayStations is because of DC Universe Online. It's my favorite video game, and it's now available on the Xbox. But when I first started playing it, you could only play it on.
And don't get me wrong, like there are some series I've really wanted to play on PlayStation.
Yeah,
but
hey, you're voting with your dollars. I understand it
exactly. Like I have wanted to play. I did play The Last of Us when it came to PC.
Okay, The Last of Us is in my top 5, dude. That is one of the greatest.
The one
games
I
ever
am
made.
really fucking waiting for, and really fucking annoyed that it's not out already because it's been out over a year now. Is Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, yeah.
I love the aesthetics.
It looks pretty cool.
Period.
I haven't played it.
I love the gameplay.
Where
it's like, oh my god, yes, I get to be a samurai. Yes, what do I have to do? Buy a PlayStation?
Right.
No,
no, can't do that. Sucks, man. Sucks. Let's see. Chris says,
I will say, you're being an old school, especially black and white movie fan like you are.
Yeah.
There is a game available on Steam. I forget how much it is right now. Called Trek to Yomi.
Trek to Yomi.
This thing is straight up a Kurosawa film.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds cool, man.
That you get to play through. It's fucking glorious.
Wow. The one I'm kind of tinkering with right now is called The Order. It's an older game.
Yeah, I remember The Order.
It's like a steampunk Britain.
Well, that was I think one of the PS3's launch games.
Yeah, it's an older one, but I've been messing around with it. I've got PlayStation 2, 3, 4, and 5.
No, like I
Xbox 360. That's the ones I have.
Like I don't hate on Sony's developers.
No.
Whether it be Square Enix, whether it be Naughty Dog, whatever, they've developed some great games.
Yeah.
Even Crystal Dynamics at certain points before they went multi-platform because Sony screwed them over, which is why all of these companies no longer produce first-party content for Sony.
Yeah.
Because Sony has a habit of screwing everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like the fact that they edit games. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff coming from Japan, if there's any nudity, it ends up getting, blanked out somehow.
Well, some of that is due to legal reasons.
Right.
It's not all Sony's fault.
Right. Well,
no, could they fight harder than they probably do? Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those, if it was my company and it's like, hey, this might be illegal in a certain area. It's like throwing the swastika on a German airplane in World War II. Like, yes, it's historically accurate. And yes, I'll fight to the hilt for that. But in Germany, it's illegal to even show it.
Yeah. For good reason. Yeah.
Well, no, actually not for good reason. Because they're trying to bury their fucking history so they can do it again.
That's true.
They're trying to bury their fucking history so they can do it again.
Right. Chris says Red Dead Redemption 2 is my Friday night mainstay game with my brother. That's right.
Hell yeah, man.
Together with his brother who lives in Arizona, and they play online and they get around and do it. And they actually have figured out a way to have a private server doing it too.
That's fucking awesome because that was cool. One of the things that
Rockstar
stopped doing that I really hated with GTA 5.
I'll find out from him and go through the semantics, and I'll get it to you. But it's a way that you can enter a poker game and walk out of it, and you're on a private server. Nobody can mess with you.
But that's bullshit. Like, you should just be able to. Hey, Des Wolfen.
Hey, Des Wolfen. What's going on, man?
It was good talking to you the other day, by the way.
Yep.
But no, like, you should be able to just designate a private server where, like, imagine like a server for RDR2 where it's just us retards.
Yeah.
Just roaming around the landscape.
Right. His big
dumb
my
shit.
buddy Chris, his big problem with is that he'd get sniped from far away by somebody when they're in the middle of a mission and stuff like that. So he found out there's a way to do it. I don't know exactly how you do it,
but especially because it's the random online interactions will make you mad when you know it's your friend doing it because he's just trolling you.
Right.
It makes it a whole different interaction, even if it's the same fucking thing. It's just, it goes from, oh, you, what the fuck? What the hell are you doing? Oh, you son of a bitch. Dude. Oh, you son of a bitch.
Let's see. I really need to be on mic. Damn it, Chris is. Well, man, I'll send you the link if you want to get on the mic.
Get on here, man. I think we talked a couple of weeks ago.
Let me get it. I'm gonna have to text it to him. He's probably gonna have to use his phone to do it. But I'll get it to you, man. Hang on. Let's see. Did I get in there? Okay.
But yeah, you're right, Pope. There shouldn't have to be a trick to be able to get on a private server. It should just
it should just be a tick box like, hey, I want to make this a public lobby or a private lobby.
Because if you think about it, I don't see that being any additional cost to Rockstar or whatever.
No, it's not, and it was available in games far prior to these.
Yep.
And let's face it. Let's look at the hilarity of, like, let's say we did one of these live streams.
Yeah.
And just talking about the shit we were already talking about while we're just fishing in Red Dead Redemption.
Right. Now, it doesn't have to be anything.
Because let's face it, this is the same kind of shit men talk about while we're fishing.
Yeah.
Right.
What's up, Knock? Good to see you, man. If you want in here, I'll send you a link. Hang on. My gosh, all my friends are showing up at the last second. Let's see, copy.
That man knows his stuff when it comes to football.
But like, let's face it, that shit would be hilarious when we just have a live stream of us just fishing.
Yeah,
and talking shit to each other about each other's fish, while we're just talking about these political topics.
Let's see. You can make a friends only lobby if you go where.
GTA Online.
If you were talking GTA Online. No, we're talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's see. I can hang out for a few. Okay, man. Come on whenever you're ready. I just sent you the link. So, but anyway, that would be fun as hell, man. Just sitting here bullshitting with that in the background.
Like, even if it was literally just a fishing mode.
Right.
Where we were arguing over bait and fucking doing stupid shit like men do when we fish.
That's it, bro. That's it.
Like
beer included, right?
Yeah,
gotta have a beer.
That's the worst part. Is like you can tell that like a lot of the people who have complaints with like some of the mechanics and stuff like have never actually done this thing in their life.
Yep. Hello, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, guys. How's it going?
If you've never met him, that's Matt from Small Time Republic, and this is Pope Metallicus.
We talked a couple.
That's
weeks
right.
ago.
You've talked on Twitch.
Pope and I did. Yeah, we were doing Sunday night. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Now, what did you want to talk to him about how to set up that server? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Of course, you're gonna need at least 2 players. Any bar in the open world that has a poker table, you walk in. Don't be grouped up. Don't be in the same posse. You walk up. You guys are on PSN. Well, you're not on PSN, right?
No, because fuck PlayStation entirely.
See, I don't know if you can do it without being on PSN, what you would do is you would be on PSN chat. And because you're on
Xbox
PSN
has got an
chat,
external chat too. I'm sure.
No, it doesn't.
Oh man.
Well, because you got to remember, the Xbox is basically a Windows PC.
Yeah.
It's just a very limited Windows PC that's directed only to gaming.
Okay.
And also internet browsing. But, you know, that's kind of a secondary feature.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, if you're on PlayStation, it's pretty simple. You just go into a PSN chat, and once you're in there, you start up a private game, and it's going to tell you that you can't be in a game with other players that you're not mic'd up with, essentially. And so you just send an invite to your buddy. As soon as he gets the invite, you back out of the game without actually backing out. You go back to the PSN screen. Is what you do, and you go to his profile name. You'd scroll down, and where it shows what he's doing, you would get ready to enter the same content, even though you're already in the content. And as soon as he accepts the invite, you sit there and hit join. Then once it says processing, it'll start going through this rigmarole, and it basically kicks you out of the poker game and puts you both into or puts him into a private session or private server, and then he sends you an invite to the server, and there you go.
Yeah.
As long as you're not running content that's going to take you out of that server, you can stay in there all night long.
Also, Joe, in honor of the start of hockey season,
yes, sir,
I was wearing my number 4 jersey.
Oh man, check you out.
I heard about this.
Cool.
Yeah, I've heard about this hockey before too.
He's heard about this hockey before too. Hang on. What are you doing, Chris? He's about to show something off.
Hold on.
He's about to show something off. I can tell
already. Have to pardon me because it's getting a little dark for a second. But
hi, Knock. It's good to see you.
What's up, Knock?
Bro, you are setting a dangerous precedent for retaliation.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's see. How about that one right there? Let's see. Can you see it?
I see it.
I see you. Yeah. Did he ever?
Sagan. And you were talking about your number 4. How about 14? How about Ben?
Oh, that's adorable.
Was
adorable?
Was that a Bobby Orr jersey?
Yeah. Did you go adorable on me?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, man, he's a Bruins fan like I am, Chris.
How many Stanleys does Jamie Benn have? That's right.
Oh, but this is YouTube, so I'm going to keep it semi-PG and just say 1. 1. But that's all we need.
I'll go with the truth and just say 0.
Yeah, you're right.
No. And so also, the only time that Chris Barsh, your enforcer, ever went up against Sean Thornton, our enforcer,
man,
he got his ass beat.
Well, listen, I have to,
and I have the video for it.
Cool. I'm so glad. Listen, I have to commend my man Knock. He got his certification, his latest certification. And what is it again you're doing?
This one was the Security Plus certification.
Okay, yeah.
It's a gateway into cybersecurity.
He's becoming a cyber G-man.
It's a path I can go, but it helped that coupled with my previous cert gets me pretty much
fair.
A lot of jobs in the government. But
so kudos to you, man. He was studying up on it this week. So
I got some good news this morning too, man.
What's that, bro?
They gave me a raise.
Oh, look out! That'll work, man.
That was very awesome news. I wasn't expecting that this morning, but
Pope,
great.
if you haven't watched it before, Knock is co-host of the football pregame we do on Sundays. The reason why I haven't seen you on your heavy metal stream lately, he and I get together at 10 o'clock in the morning, and Matt's been there. He's been in the chat watching us before. Yep. He's always giving us a who dat because he's down around that area. But yeah, that's where he lives, man. That's where he's from. Chris is a Dallas fan, as you can see. That's why we call him Dallas. He's got more memorabilia than anybody I know. Let's see what we got here. Das Wolfen, that was my bachelor's degree. BSIT, network security. Yeah, I guess you know what that is, not because I don't.
Nope. They have all kinds of weird names.
That's cool, man. But yeah, kudos to you, man. That's great. What are you looking for this weekend out of the games?
A Broncos win would be nice.
Yeah.
But of course, we don't play till Monday night because we have to have all the primetime games to see everyone see us.
That's
suck.
killing him. That's killing him because he's
I
got
have
a long
to stay
commute
up.
in the morning.
I've lost so much sleep because of all these damn primetime games and then we lose.
Yeah.
I lose sleep and we lose. So it makes for a great next day at work. So
yeah. Now you were excited about some college matchups though.
Oh, there's some massive ones this weekend. Alabama, Tennessee is a huge one.
Yeah, man. I'm a big
6.
Tennessee fan this weekend. Aren't you not?
This is
Dallas, I know you're rooting for Tennessee in that game. I know you are.
Well, yeah, considering we got jobbed against them.
Yeah, they should have lost
game of the season.
They should have. Yep.
Then there's Penn State and Michigan. Oof. Penn State and Michigan is another one.
Mm-hmm.
Number 10, number 5. It's gonna be. And then what was the other one? TCU and Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. As you can tell, awesome. Pope. Nobody watches more football than that maniac right there. He watches stuff from NFL Europe apparently, and
the ULF.
Joe, you want to share the thing I just put in the private chat?
Uh-oh. Let me see.
On stream. Let's see the video.
Okay, let's see.
All I can say is,
oh no, you didn't.
Yes,
no, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
I'm guessing this is a
what
clip.
Hang on a second, guys. Hang on.
Clip.
Go ahead with what you were talking about. It's going to take me a second there, Knock. I'm sorry.
All I can say is that,
there's some really good game. I got into. I was football was in hiatus, in the off season. I was starving for it. So I started watching the seasonal stuff, USFL started back up. And then I found out, not found out about it, but I started watching Canadian football, which is still going.
Yeah.
And then I even found the European League of Football, which is American style football over there that they started up a couple years back. But
Canadian League football is like Mutant League football.
Yeah, it is.
It's a different,
crazy. It's
weird. They even have like one pointers that are just
It's called a Rouge, my friend.
Yeah, it's very strange watching those
out of bounds.
They don't show
because it's French. I'm going to object to it.
It's very strange watching those highlights when you're still learning it, and like, why is there just points appearing on the scoreboard?
Right.
Okay, let's take a look at this. Looks like.
And by the way, hockey's back this week, bitches.
Yes, it is. And there are no crazier people than friggin' hockey players. No doubt about it. Okay, let's take a look at this. This meeting of the stars?
Meeting of the minds. What we say.
Okay.
I just see twirling.
Yeah, they're going around in circles. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's the next fight is Sean Thornton and Chris Barge.
Okay, hang on. There's another fight. Let me find it real quick.
No, I mean, no,
just let it play. All right,
dude. The announcers
this title is very misleading.
And
all of a lot more than 4.
Like they are just...
went to a
oh come on
boxing match.
By the way, after that happened, the next play was a goal by Boston.
Wow, unbelievable. Well, I just know this,
and it was the immortal line by Jack Edwards, as he's always hyperbolic.
Yeah,
just 3 fights and a goal. We having fun yet?
Right?
Yeah, man. I enjoy hockey, but you know what? There's 2 sports that I tell people you truly can't appreciate on television, and that's hockey and baseball.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, on baseball, all you get is that friggin' shot behind the pitcher's ass all day. It's boring as shit.
can't.
But if you watch it live, it's a lot of fun to watch. You get to see the defensive shifts. You get to see what's going on in the dugouts. There's a lot of fun going on at a baseball game.
If you're looking at it on live, all you get to see is the goddamn statistics.
Yeah, but the hockey game, the thing you can't get an appreciation for because the camera's always moving with them is how fast those motherfuckers are moving. I mean, you really can't appreciate it unless you see it live.
Now, do any of you guys know how fast your average hockey player is moving?
No, don't.
I do.
Well, tell
Ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous speed.
He's moving at about 45 to 50 miles an hour.
Wow. I knew it would be fast. I know the fastest humans run 20. So I know it's faster than that.
And that's not even NHL quality. That's what I was clocked at.
Yeah, it's insane. And I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again for those of you that don't watch hockey. These guys are cut from a different cloth, man. They just are. They're nuts. I was watching. It was a few years back, and I was watching the Avalanche go after a title, and one of the guys for the opposing team hit a guy with a slap shot, but it was like he was trying to clear the ice. He wasn't trying to make a goal. This happened in the middle of the ice around the blue line, and the guy took a puck right in the mask, really fast, and busted his nose. And they're tending to him. They're walking him out of the off the ice. And my wife said, "Well, he's done for the night." I said, "Oh no, babe, you don't understand. This is not football. They don't get turf toe, okay?" I said, "Trust me, in 5 minutes, that guy's going to come out of the locker room with some kind of shit stuffed up his nose, and he's going to get right back on that friggin' ice." And sure enough, when he did come back, she was like, "Oh, my God." And sure enough, he had this big cotton swab of his nose, right? And,
I'll argue against that because I should shove that cotton swab straight up his fucking nasal cavity.
Well, the thing I told her, and you'll appreciate this, you hockey fans out there. I looked at her and I said, there was a time when they didn't wear helmets. When I was a kid, they didn't wear helmets.
Dude,
only a few of the goalies wore helmets.
When I was a kid in the late 80s or early 90s, we resisted having the cage helmets.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Weren't there
because when you're skating on ice, especially with the neon lights going down on there are weird light artifacts that show up in the fucking columns of the helmet.
Okay.
Weren't there some of the older NHL players that were grandfathered in? They didn't have to wear
they don't have to wear the shields.
Well, yeah, but I mean, how the hell does that work?
Got a good video for you guys.
I see.
Because let's face it, guys like Terry O'Reilly never had to wear a helmet in the NHL. Because
even now they've gone to making them wear the helmets with the shields. But if you're grandfathered in, you don't have to.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in the 70s, when they knew what concussions used to do to people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were just like, well, he doesn't want to wear the helmet, so we can't make him.
So safety is paramount, guys. So this is what we have to do now. I don't know how many of you saw this. This cracked me up.
I don't know how many of you guys are veterans, but like this whole safety bullshit.
This right here just cracked me up when I saw this the first time. This is safe sacking.
Oh my
safe
God.
sacking.
What you do right here, what you do right here, so we can be safe, you say, "Hey, I want to get you." Okay, say, "I want to get you." I want to get you. And I say, "Okay, tap me." Now, naturally, when we're in the streets, if you tap me, I know I'm it. Right. But we're going to do a little more physical. You say, "Take that side down first." Right? Right. Hold on.
Kevin Hart needs more on his shirt.
Now, if you want
Right?
No, in real life, that little nigger is going to get dragged.
All right.
Yeah.
Now,
No, he's
Pope, cease. You're dropping N-bombs on my channel, dude. What are you doing?
Fair enough.
Cease.
there's There's a simple explanation why we have a country full of snowflakes anymore, because they all have to wear helmets, elbow pads, knee pads, and shoot Nerf guns. When we had Red Ryder BB gun wars, shooting bottle rockets up each other's asses and Roman candle fights.
Don't put me down there. Look at this.
And the reason I hard R some things is because I'm trying to start a fight.
I understand that. Well, don't start a fight with me, bro.
No, not on your channel. But like, if you think you have the guts to take me on,
I don't want to take you on, man.
No, not aimed at you, Joe.
So you gotta say something nice, okay? You gotta say something nice.
Yes.
No, I really fucking don't.
This is how you sack a quarterback now.
Yeah.
Yes.
What this
got to put him to bed.
This whole thing was overreaction because of what the stuff with Tua.
Oh my God!
Yeah. No.
Don't even get me on that subject.
This was not Tua. This was after Brady. This was after.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
I know exactly what
the
you're
Chiefs
talking
and the
about.
Raiders.
Yes.
There was a holding call on the Raiders blocking team on a field goal. You know how dumb that is? And I read about that article. It was only called one time back in 2015 by the same ref.
Yeah.
This guy's an idiot. I don't know how he does the job.
Yeah, they wouldn't have called roughing the passer on the Brady sack had the Tua stuff not been.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Even
either.
Still, but they've shown other ones where they.
Hey, me and Danny talked about it Thursday. And Danny's convinced that we got a glass player in Tua, that he's just not going to be able to make it in the NFL because he's so injury prone. That's.
Well, I mean, if you got rid of the ball too, that would help.
Well, dude, I mean, look, the hit that Brady took was basically the same one that Tua took.
You're not wrong.
Whipped down. He got whipped down.
You're not wrong.
No,
and I'm not saying that Brady.
His head never even hit the ground.
Brady was being a prima donna when that hit happened.
Yeah, he was.
He even tried to kick the guy too.
And as a lifelong Patriots fan, even before the Brady era, that's not football.
I've had rougher sex than the hit that Tua took. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to get into your own sex life.
Hey.
Oh man, yeah.
But,
all right, well, listen up, guys. We're gonna
does your husband know you're on here?
Listen, we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up. My wife is here, and she is she has brought me food. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for the night. But I want to thank you guys for showing up. It's always fun to see all of you. Pope, you want to tell us what you're doing this week?
Well, this week I am actually not doing my weekly rock and roll religion episode because I'm going to see Judas Priest.
Oh, what a bummer, huh? Damn. That's awesome.
See, he was wanting to take the week off. That's why he dropped the N-bomb.
Ah, God damn you. Why do you have to blow me up like that, damn it?
Because it's so easy.
No, you just fucking like message me after and be like, I know what you're doing.
All right, let's see.
But no, I'm going to see Judas Priest this Sunday. And for the next 2 weeks, we are going to be doing Spooky Month themed rock and roll religion. So if you guys have a band like Candlemass or a horror themed band that you want me to react to, I'll take into consideration. I have my own suggestions, which I'll run by the panel after. But I do see all of these.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to have the public interaction of what do you guys want to see me do for Spooky Month?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll get a hold of you after the stream and text you about it on Gilded.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, you have a good one, man. Matt, what are you up to?
Nothing to promote. Just enjoy being on your channel, Joe. And again, just try to hang out in the chats and jump on the occasional live stream with people. But that's about it. Just thanks for having me on.
Oh, for sure, man. I appreciate you coming. Chris, thanks for coming, bro. It was good to see you.
Always.
Maniac. And by the way, guys, just watch the replay. Watch the replay if you want to learn how to get a private server on Red Dead Redemption 2 on PlayStation, because he laid it out for you. So you can do that rather easily. And Knock, you want to tell them what's going on this weekend?
Oh, we're going to do some college football and NFL pick'ems. That's what we do every Sunday at 11 Eastern.
Yeah, and we're pulling for everybody in the country's pulling for the Volunteers this weekend.
Yeah,
it should be anyway.
As an Auburn
fan,
fan,
if they manage to lose that one, I lose hope for college football.
Cowboys, Eagles, Sunday night.
Yeah, what I want to know.
Who cares? I want both of them to lose.
What do you mean? What?
Yeah, a tie.
He wants a tie and as many injuries as possible.
No, I want both the Eagles and the fucking
go ahead.
The Titans to lose.
He's trying.
God damn it.
It's all right, Pope. I got you back, man. Let me push my stuff real quick before we get out of here. Let's see. Of course, you guys know tomorrow night it's going to be me and my brother hacking the Matrix at 6:30. And that's everything current events and movies and music, everything we love. And that's 6:30 to about 8. We go for about an hour and a half. And Saturday, you've got me sketching the Privateer. We start that at 1:30 on Saturday. And we go for about an hour. Justifier Jim's nice enough to sit in there with me for when I get a little bit too busy drawing. And we've got the pregame with Knock on Sunday, about 2 hours before kickoff. And then we've got, and all of those are on YouTube. And my only exclusive Twitch show I have now is the brothers, Papa Joe Gamer up way too late. That's where sometimes you'll see Dallas and Pope on there with me.
You play Star Trek Online?
I do, sir. I do. I am the captain of a dreadnought on that game. Yes, sir.
We may have to talk later because I
absolutely
want to get back into that game. I've been playing it on and off for years.
Yep. It's a lot of fun. You can watch that 11 o'clock on Sunday and Monday nights after football's over with. I go for about 3 hours and I change games about every hour. And then, of course, we got the State of the Atmosphere. This show here is every Wednesday. We went a little long tonight. We had a lot of people show up. And I don't mind that at all. You guys, I'm really glad you showed up, and thank you very much. So until we see you again, I want to say for my panel and everybody else out there, I want to thank you for watching. And until we see you again, I want you to keep on keeping on. God bless, guys.
And